Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. It is time for another Taste of Home series collab. If you watch my channel, you know that Kim and I both collect the Taste of Home annual editions. Now I've been subscribed to the magazine since the very premiere issue. I have all of the magazines. Can I tell you, I think it debuted in 1993, so there's a lot of magazines. I am converting over to the annual edition hardback books for space reasons. So Kim had started collecting them a while ago, and then I started collecting them, and we said, hey, let's start a little collab with our Taste of Home books. So that is what we have been doing. I think this is our fourth or fifth one. I'm not sure. Fourth, maybe. So this month I chose, what we do is we choose a year and then we choose a category. So I chose 1997 and I also chose soups and sandwiches. So I am making a Mexican chicken corn chowder. Now, if you noticed, usually we hold the book up on our thumbnail, you know, whatever volume we're using. I didn't do that because I can't find the book. I had the book because I made the recipe. Now I can't find it. I've ripped my house apart. I swear stuff goes into like, it's not on the shelf. I mean, they're all in order on the shelf. That one's not there. I have no idea where it is. I have literally ripped my house apart. That's why it's not on my thumbnail. So I just thought that was kind of funny because, you know, it's somewhere, I think. I don't know. But anyway, so we use the 1997 Taste of Home Annual Edition. And so the 1997 edition is all of the recipes from the year 1996. They put it out a year later. It took me a while to figure that one out. So anyway, that is what I am making, Mexican chicken corn chowder. So let's show you the ingredients and let's get started on this. Okay, here are the ingredients that we need for our soup. I'm going to tell you what swaps I am making because I am making a couple swaps. So we need 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast cut into 1-inch pieces. We need 1/2 cup of chopped onion, 3 tablespoons of butter, 1 to 2 garlic cloves minced. And then the recipe calls for a cup of hot water and 2 teaspoons of chicken bouillon. I'm going to use some of my homemade chicken bone broth. So I'll just substitute 1 cup of that. Then we need 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin, 2 cups of half and half, 2 cups of shredded Monterey Jack cheese. Then here comes another swap. We need 1 14 3/4 ounce can of cream style corn. I'm just using fresh corn that we took off the cob and froze instead of cream style. We need 1 4-ounce can of diced green chilies, undrained. We need 1/4 to 1 teaspoon of hot sauce. I will be using probably 1/8. Then we need 1 medium tomato chopped. And optional is fresh minced cilantro and fried tortilla strips for the top, but I won't be using any of those. So that is what we need for ingredients. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to melt our butter in a Dutch oven. Once this is melted, we are going to toss in our chicken and our onion, and we are going to stir, stir, stir until the chicken is cooked through and the onion is translucent and tender. Okay, our butter's nice and hot, so I'm just going to toss in our chicken and our onion. And I am going to let this cook until, like I said, the chicken is no longer pink and the onion is soft and translucent. And I'm just going to stir it every few minutes. I'm going to cook it on a medium high because I definitely want a nice sear on that chicken, but I don't want the outside to get too done before the inside gets done. Okay, Okay, our chicken is all cooked through. Our onion is tender. I'm gonna add in our garlic and I'm gonna just cook that for about a minute. Just so we don't have raw garlic in there, but you have to be careful with garlic because it will burn. So we're just gonna toss that around for a minute. Okay, that is nice and fragrant. Now I'm gonna add in our chicken broth or water and bouillon, whatever it is that you're using. And I'm gonna add in our cumin. I am only using a half a teaspoon because I am not a big cumin fan. If you love cumin, use more. And then we are gonna let this come up to a boil. Once it boils, we're gonna cover it, turn it down, and let it simmer for 5 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, so we're just gonna take the lid off and we are gonna start adding in our other ingredients. The first thing we're gonna start with is our 2 cups of half and half. Our can of chilies, undrained. Then we're gonna add in our hot sauce, just a tiny little bit for me. If you like hot sauce, you add more in. Then we're gonna add in our cheese. And then finally, we're gonna put in our corn. We are gonna stir this and cook it over low heat until the cheese is melted. Bring it back up to a simmer. You don't want the cream to break, so you do not want to boil this. Okay, our cheese is melted and I still have it on low, just heating everything through. I'm gonna add in our tomato. And then that's it. That is all there is to this. This is a quick, probably less than 30-minute soup. I think it took me longer to chop the onion and the chicken and the tomato than it did to actually make the soup. So there it is. I am just gonna keep this on low and let it heat all the way through. And then we will come back and talk points, calories, swaps to you can definitely make this less points and less calories. So we will talk swaps, we will talk points, calories, and most importantly, we're gonna talk taste. So my friends, there you have it. There is the recipe. So easy to make. Longer to chop all the ingredients than it was to actually cook the soup. I mean, you can let it simmer as long as you want. And I did let it simmer for a while because I made it a little bit earlier in the afternoon than we needed it. But let me tell you, it was very, very good. The cumin is what gives it that Mexican flair. I am not a big fan of cumin, so I used the least. There was a range. I used the least amount because I'm just not a huge fan. Even when I make my homemade taco seasoning, I cut the cumin in half. So if you like cumin, add more to it. It did, I thought, needed salt. There was no salt in the recipe, but I did salt it a little bit on the table, but I do love salt. So anyway, it got a thumbs up in our house. We really enjoyed it. So filling. Oh my goodness. I could not believe how filling it was. So now as for the points and calories, it is 329 calories for a serving, which is not bad at all, but it's 11 points. It's very high in points, but you can reduce those points. If you don't know, I don't count points anymore. I count calories. So for me, 329 is so easy to fit in. 11 points? I mean, I guess if you have a low point day, 11 points for dinner is not bad at all in my world, but you can reduce the points. We prefer not to use any fat-free or reduced fat items. So everything I used was full fat. For you guys to reduce the points, easy peasy. You can use a light butter, or if you don't want to use a light butter, you can use real butter, just reduce it. I don't really think 3 tablespoons was necessary. Reduce it. you definitely need something. Don't just use cooking spray. You need a little fat in there. So definitely use something, even if you just reduce it by half or whatever. You can also use either a less cheese, which I would not recommend, or a reduced fat cheese if you don't mind using that. Also, the half and half. I used full fat half and half. If you use fat-free half and half, you are going to cut your points hugely. You know what? You may not even have to use half and half if you just want to use like skim milk. I wouldn't use a nut milk or anything because I think the flavor would change. But if you wanted to use a milk, that would probably work too. So there's definitely ways to reduce your points and your calories on this soup if you feel it's a little bit out of your realm. But it was really good. We really enjoyed it. One other substitution or change I would make, I would not chunk up the chicken. I think I would prefer it shredded. You know, I cut it in 1-inch cubes. I definitely think I would like it shredded better than the cubes. So I will probably try that next time, but we will definitely be making this again. It made a very big amount. And like I said, it was very, very filling. Like one serving was more than enough. And I did have a piece of crusty bread with it. So that is it. That is, probably took me longer to explain than it did to actually cook it. But anyway, that is it. We truly enjoyed it, and I hope you guys will give it a try, whether you do it the full fat version or whether you make the substitutions we talked about. So it'll all work, and it'll be just delicious. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, check the show notes below, the description box below. Kim's link to her video will be there, and she is making a sandwich. So you have soup and sandwich, and she is making something that sounds very interesting, so I can't wait to watch it. I will see you guys in my next video, and look for another Taste of Home collab coming out soon.